Hey Jackie, Auntie, Jackie, you ready? When the clouds roll.
There are times when we know that something needs to change, but yet we find it extremely difficult to make the necessary adjustments so that things could be different. I just want to take a moment to encourage you and remind you that sometimes change can be hard, and sometimes change requires discipline. Sometimes change requires support. Sometimes change requires patience. But the amazing thing about it is once we make the change, we're so happy and grateful that we did. I want to start out by asking you a question today. Have you ever had an experience where you knew that something, it just wasn't good for you, but for whatever reason, you found it really difficult to apply the tools or the principles and the things that were needed for you to be successful at a particular thing? Have you ever had an experience in life? Let's go diet. Have you ever had an experience in life where you knew that you needed to maintain a certain type of diet, but yet you found yourself eating all of these things that you already knew that was going to cause you problems in your health? Have you ever been in a place in life where, again, we make choices, we make decisions, and we know that those decisions are not going to be good for us? We know that it's not going to be a good outcome. But for whatever reason, we find ourselves constantly doing that same thing. And I just want to take a moment to remind you and share with you that think it not strange when those things happen. But I want you to know that they don't have to always be that way. Realizing that at some point it's good and we need to make a choice. At some point, we get to determine how long we're going to go on that up and down roller coaster. And some of the things that I've discovered to help me was kind of knowing myself, kind of really knowing who you are, knowing what you want, what you don't want, thinking about the cost, deciding to be determined, to be disciplined, and do what you need to do to accomplish the thing that you want to accomplish. All of those things are extremely important when we're navigating life. You often hear me talk about becoming your own BFF. Well, one way for that to happen is definitely knowing who you are, knowing what you want to accomplish, and then beginning to map out a plan of how you're going to get from point A to point B. And as we know who we are, it kind of helps us to be able to navigate. Because in this world, you have a lot of voices. We have a lot of things that come at us day in and day out. The key is to learn the principles and use them wisely to be able to accomplish the things that we want to do. I find that if I'm listening to this person, that person, this and this and this and this, before I know it, I'm like so confused. But when I take the time and think about the season in life that I'm in, the season in life that you're in, and all the information that you're taking in, how do you apply it in that particular season? What does it look like for you in that particular season? Because what it looks like for me, it's not going to look like for you. And what it looks like for you, it's not going to look like for me. So what am I saying? Sometimes we have to stop, or sometimes it's good to just stop and pause and assess. As we're navigating, as we're moving, just taking time to think about Where am I at right now? And all the information that I'm taking in, what does it look like for me in this season in my life? What is it going to help? What out of all the information that I'm receiving, what part of it do I need to apply? What part of it that I need to use at this moment in this time? And begin to pace yourself. I believe that it will help us to not be so overwhelmed and not be so frustrated when we're trying to do all the things from information that we're taking in. It could just be overwhelming. It can become way too much. But when we stop and we pause and we think about today, what do I need to apply today? What do I need to apply so that by the end of the week, I will be where I need to be? What do I need to apply today so by the end of the month, I'll be where I need to be? What do I need to apply today so by the end of the year, I'll be where I need to be? So again, it's just taking time to think about it, taking time to evaluate all the information that we are receiving and thinking about how it applies to our life. Because some of it we may not even need right now. And we can store, we can have ways that we can keep the information so that when we do need it, we're able to have access to it. But the key, again, is really, really knowing who you are, where you want to be, where you want to go. Sometimes you get in rooms and, it gets hyped. It's easy to get hyped about all the information that you're getting. But does that apply to you right now? Is that something that we can use right now? We can ask ourselves some questions when we find ourselves in those situations. Where I'm at right now, and what is it that I need to do again in this season and at this time in my life? I wonder, I'd love to get some feedback from you. Do you think that would garner more peace unto us? Do you think it would cause us to have less stress and less anxiety as opposed to trying to keep up with all the information? Same thing with technology. It changes, it changes, it changes. And it's like a bear. You can just keep trying to keep up with it. But whatever applies to you, you can use it right now. I can remember even learning and talk about, creating videos and creating podcasts. And, they were saying how sometimes one may think that they have to buy all this fancy equipment and get all these different things. But it was talking about starting with starting with what you just have, your cell phone, your laptop, if you have a camera light, whatever, and you can start there as opposed to trying to take on all this heavy technology or these heavy equipment that we may not even know how to be able to use. So what am I saying? At the end of the day, I want you to remember and be encouraged that wherever you're desiring to go, whatever it is that you're desiring to do, might not be a bad idea to just stop and pause and think about, what do I need at this very moment, at this very time, for this season that I am in my life at this time? I hope this makes sense. So as we're navigating this season in our life and we're discovering how we can no longer allow the things that are not allowing us to reach our goals and that's hindering us from being and doing the things that we desire in our lives, we can ask ourselves some questions. What's working for me? What's not working for me? What happens if I don't stop? What happens if I continue on the path that I'm on? What will be the end result? If I continue to do the thing that I know is going to bring me more harm than good? What happens if I begin to do the things that will transform my life? If I begin to take the steps that will allow me to show up my best self, that would allow me to do the things and position myself to be able to live and live life to the full. What lives can I impact as I begin to stand tall in who I was created to be? Oh my world, what a difference it would make. So I want to take a moment just to encourage you. Don't stop. Don't quit. Keep pushing. And the reality is, there are going to be some areas in our lives that we're just going to have to find ways to navigate through. Some things are changed and we can be healed and we're delivered. Some things we have to be aware of how we can navigate them in the midst of it. What that is for you is different for the person next to you. So as we begin to think about these things and begin to take control over our lives, so again, that we can become our own BFF, living our lives bold, fulfilled, and free. Until next time, take care.